Hey now, what's up everybody? Gonna do some Code Katas. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Go over to codewars.com. Let's sort our katas by most completed. And let's find the one that we're on. Let's see. IQ test. Bob is preparing to pass his IQ test. The most frequent task in the test is to find out which one of the given numbers differs from the other. Bob observed that one number usually differs from the others in evenness. Help Bob to check his answers. He needs a program that among the given numbers finds the one that is different in evenness and returns position of the number. Keep in mind that your task is to help Bob solve a real IQ test, which means indexes of the elements start from 1, not 0. Okay? So we're given a string full of numbers. We need to find if the string is predominantly even, then we need to find the odd number. And if it's predominantly odd, we need to find the even number. But the first step, of course, is to find out whether the string is predominantly even or odd. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's bring it down locally. Let's open it up in VS Code. Let's put our title in. Let's grab our function. And let's bring in our test. Let's change these to console.logs. Start up Quaka. Cool, so we're getting undefined return, that's good. So first we need to check and see if our string is predominantly even or odd. So let's go ahead and let's log out. Can we do so that gives us our spaces. I'm thinking, should we just split on the space? So we'll just have our numbers. I wonder if we need to figure out the index. So the odd number here is in the third, so they're not counting the spaces as indices. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna say we're gonna say numbers equals numbers. We're gonna split it on the space. And then we're gonna go ahead and turn all of those into numbers because right now they're strings. So we'll say dot map, taking our num, we'll say number num. So that should give us an array of all the numbers as numbers. go ahead and check it out. Cool, so we have an array with our numbers. So let's go ahead and loop through, we'll loop through the first 3. We'll say let I equals 0 while I is less than, we want to check 3 numbers, so while I is less than, is it 3 that we want? I think 4. While I is less than 4, we want to say I plus plus. So then we're going to say, let's go ahead and log numbers at index. Cool. So we're getting our numbers. Let's just do it for one test right now. So we really only need 3. So give us our first 3 numbers. And we're gonna have to keep track of even and odd. I don't like this solution, but let even equals 0. We'll let odd equals 0. And we'll say if. And we'll go ahead and let we'll say if number at index remainder 2 is equal to 0, then we'll say even plus equals 1. Then we can say else odd plus equals 1. So that'll keep track of the first 3 numbers, and this needs to be numbers. So now we have our even and our odd. So now we can see if it's predominantly even or odd. So we have our even is 2, odd is 1. So now we can say now we can map over our numbers. We could say let's return numbers.map, taking our num. If even is greater than odd, then we want to return if even is greater than odd, then we want to return the number who we could have nested for loops, but I don't want to do that. We could go like this. If even is greater than odd, then we know that the loop is majority even numbers, so we'll say let's I equal 1, because since he's doing an IQ test, it starts at 1. The array starts at 1 instead of 0. So we'll say while I is less than numbers dot length I plus plus, and we'll say if numbers at index remainder, if even is greater than odd, so we need to find the odd, remainder 2 is not equal to 0, return index. Then we'll say then we'll come out here, we'll say else we'll have another for loop. We'll just go ahead and copy our for loop. If number is equal to 0, return index. Else if odd is greater than even, do we want this to be 0? So it's returning index 2. Index plus 1. Index plus 1. So that's where we're, since we're starting from 1. So that'll do it. That's an ugly way to do it. We're getting 3, 3, 1, 1. I mean, this is a crazy way to do it. I'm sure there's a one-liner that we could do. Can we do like index of? We could do if even is greater than odd, return numbers dot index of a number that's not equal to let's check it. Let's see what index of does real quick. You know what we could use? We could use filters. So that's what we could do here. We could use a filter. We could say if even is greater than odd, we'll say numbers filter, take in our num. We'll say let's filter out a function that accepts up 3 arguments. The filter method one time for each element. It returns the elements of an array that meet the condition. So if even is greater than odd, we need to find the odd number. So we'll say numbers where num remainder 2 does not equal 0. Oh, but we need the index. Does the filter takes in the index? And this is index of, I know, but okay, so let's say takes in the index. What if we want to return the index? We want to return the index of well, we could use a map for this, I guess, right? Could we say we need to return the index? I don't know. We're just gonna put our for loop back in there for now. I'm feeling slow today. This needs to be not equals. Cool, so that works. Let's see everybody else's answer. There's gonna be one that's way more concise. I mean, this is just awful. Let's go over to Code Wars. Let's chunk it in. Test it. Tempt. Cool. So it worked. Let's see what everybody else's answers are. I'm sure there's some way better ones. Okay. Numbers dot split. Here they're filtering. Oh, of course. Of course. Okay, so they filtered and they stored it in a variable. If odd's greater than even, return this. Even's greater than odd, return that. Nice. This is what we did. They used arrays instead of incrementing. They split, they mapped over. This gives us the even. Cool. All right, let's do a couple more. That was IQ test. In a factory, a printer prints labels for boxes. For one kind of boxes, the printer has to use colors which, for the sake of simplicity, are named with letters from A to M. The colors used by the printer are recorded in a control string. For example, a good control string would be A, B, 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 meaning that the printer used 3 times color A, 4 times color B, 1 time color H, and then 1 time color A. Sometimes there are problems. Lack of colors, technical malfunction, and bad control string is produced. We get numbers that aren't A through M, with letters not from A to M. You have to write a function, printer error, which, given a string, will return the error rate of the printer as a string representing a rational whose numerator is the number of errors and the denominator is the length of the string. The string has a length greater or equal to 1 and contains only letters from A to Z. So what we need to do, when you look at, I think the way to solve this is we need to look at character codes. I think all the letters will be lowercase. JavaScript character codes. Cool. So A, B, C, D. Yeah. That's capital A. Returns an integer between 0 and, representing the UTF-16 code unit at a given index. Can we get a list of these character codes? UTF-16. UTF-16 codes. Is this what we wanted? No. So, what do we get? So, A to M. So, what's the character code of M? M is 109. So if we're going to assume that they're all lowercase, we could say that if character code is greater than 109, then it's going to contain a letter that's after M. So that will be an error. Right? Okay, cool. So let's bring it down locally. I think we could figure it out. Let's go ahead and save this one and get rid of it. So let's grab our function. Grab our test. So this is our test string here. Looks like it contains 3 letters, and that's what it's telling us here. So what we're gonna say is we'll have a place to store our errors, and we'll loop through our string. We'll say we'll say if s dot char code at, right, and we want to pass in our index. Well, we want to say s at, well, at index, if that's greater than 109, then error plus equals 1. And then we want to return, we'll use backticks. We want to return our errors and slash our s.length, the total length of the string. So let's start up Quokka. See if our return is correct. 356, 3 out of 56, so that works. So we have a place to store our errors. If the character code at the letter that we're at is greater than 109, we know it's past the letter M, so we'll increment our errors. Then we'll return our error with the length. Cool. So that works. At least it works on this test. Let's see if it works in here. Cool. Nice. Cool. So let's see what everybody else did. So that's cool. So they just matched, I guess, every letter that's outside of A through M globally, and they took the length of that. They concatenated the dash, and then they put the length. So that's cool. Counts, they did the same thing we did. Oh, they just said if it's greater than M. Interesting. Cool. I did the plus plus. Whoa. Wow. All right. Cool. Another one down. Let's knock out one or two more. Red